Within the toy community, it's all Littlest Pet Shop this, My Little Pony that, and don't get me wrong, they're popular for a reason. But for me, the most nostalgic toys are always going to be the ones that are buried so deep in the back of my mind. And then one day something suddenly jogs my memory and it's like a surreal experience. So today I'm going to be going over 10 niche toy lines that are super nostalgic for me. From the 90s all the way to the 2010s, we're covering our bases here. This video is kind of just to test the waters and see what people are interested in, and hopefully I'll be able to make full-length deep dives out of some of these one day. And also because I get bullied by 8-year-olds every time I post on YouTube Shorts. They're so scary. Where are your parents? Also a moment for the eyeshadow. I love her. Number 1, gelarti. Gelarti was actually the inspiration for this new series because I literally only remembered it existed a few days ago. Gelarti was essentially stickers meet cheap hobbycraft paintable sun catchers. This range of craft kits were made by the company Moose Toys, who are behind some really cool toys like Shopkins, and some not so cool ones like Make Your Own Mr. Beast. I'm not sure of an exact release date, but I can trace gelarti back to about 2012 at the earliest. These kits came with sheets of clear stickers, paint pens, and the larger kits came with a designer studio, a carry case you could store your paints in and clip your sticker sheets into to hold them in place. There were different sets released with different gimmicks like holographic and glitter stickers, and they also branched out from stickers to things like photo frames and dream catchers. Most kits came with 3D accessories like these little dragonflies and flowers you could stick into the paint, and these were honestly the most nostalgic part for me. I love playing with the dragonflies just as like their own toys. Number 2, amigami. In similar territory, amigami is another range of craft kits. These came with little plastic animal bases of different sizes. They were released by Mattel, which probably needs no introduction, in 2014. These kits came with stickers and paper shapes you could clip into the animals to make tails, hair, ears, etc. They were fully customizable and you could change their look around as many times as you'd like. I absolutely adore the stylized, over-the-top look of these toys with all the geometric patterns and bright colours. They scratch my brain so good. I've never ever heard anybody else talk about these. They feel like a weird fever dream, and I do wonder why they never got particularly popular because I was obsessed. Number 3, zomlings. Zomlings are trash packs. Well, I know the saying goes weird cousin, but like no, these are the slightly more normal cousin. Zomlings were released by the company Magic Box Toys, and they went on to have 6 series total. I feel like throughout my childhood there's always been some kind of little squishy rubber toy I've collected. First Squinkies, then trash packs, then zomlings. No new zomlings were released after Magic Box moved their focus onto a similar brand of toys known as Super Zings, later known as Super Things. But zomlings still had a pretty good 3-year-long run as a brand, and a total of 649 characters were released. My favourites being Fofly, Jimbel, and Tiz. I don't know if I'm saying those right. I love the animal zombies and didn't really care much for the generic humanoid zombies, but that didn't stop me from buying ungodly amounts of blind bags. There were also Zomlings blister packs which came with stackable houses, and like most toy brands there were rare gold and silver Zomlings to collect. There was also a web series released with 12 episodes total, so as far as this list goes, this is probably one of the more successful brands, despite how little I hear about it. Number 4, Star Monsters. I collected Star Monsters religiously. I have video evidence of my collection.
This is my art desk. Keep all my supplies in here. I have a lot of Star Monsters. There's more behind there.
Yeah, I was a bit obsessed. Star Monsters were released on February 3rd, 2016, also by Magic Box Toys. The concept for Star Monsters is when a star falls from the sky and hits an object, they merge into a star monster, which I think is a pretty fun backstory. Star Monsters had 2 series total and came in blind bags, blister packs, collector's tins, and capsules. Star Monsters have different elements, they can fuse with other characters, and they can evolve, so again, a lot of lore there. Whilst these were collectible figures, there was also a guide showing you different games you could play with your Star Monsters, so there was a kind of double purpose there. These were kind of the successor to Moshlings in my childhood, and I can kind of see why because they're a very similar concept. Looking back, the majority of Sky Monsters were just kind of ugly, so that's probably why they never took off. but a few of them were cute. I was so obsessed with this little porcupine guy. 5. Micropets. I definitely plan on doing a full Micropets deep dive one day because it's a franchise with some really interesting history, but for now I'll try and condense it down a bit. The first iteration of Micropets were released in 2002. These tiny robotic animals would react to voice commands and hand motions. For such small robots, they had a ton of personality. Like, if you gave them the same command too many times, they'd get annoyed at you. The originals went on for 4 series before Micropets I were released in 2009. The original US release of Micropets were more stylized, such as having longer faces, and a wider variety of molds, including branching out to wild animals and even monsters. However, Micropets I took on a more Japanese kawaii aesthetic, only releasing a handful of molds and just changing the colour schemes. Either way, I loved both kinds of Micropets, but I did mostly grow up with the 2009 ones, so they kind of have a special place in my heart. And the best part is, I don't think I ever paid full price for any of these because they were in every thrift shop. There were also a load of Micropet spin-offs, including Micro Places, Micro Babies, Micro Puppies, Micro Aqua, the Frutiger Aero Divas are gonna love this one, Micro Dancers, and Microids. Overall, a very cool franchise. Do not pit Micropets and Micropets I against each other because they are both perfect angel babies. Number 6, Mermaid Magic. Mermaid Magic, not to be confused with the questionable show Mermaid Magic, about a mermaid who dreams of becoming a social media influencer.
We're gonna be late for class. I am going to be the queen of social media one day. Do I really need to know math?
So inspiring. But anyway, Mermaid Magic was a series of collectible mystery mermaid figurines hidden inside shell-shaped bath bombs, and their tails would change colour when dipped in water. There were also fairy and princess versions and even mushy monsters, but the mermaid ones were always the most iconic to me. These toys actually re-released a bit more recently as Fizzin' Surprise Mermaids, which have different packaging but the toys look pretty much exactly the same. Number 7, Pokémon Sliders. Pokémon Sliders, not to be confused with this kind of Pokémon Sliders, have a pretty special place in my heart because I didn't get into Pokémon the normal way through the games or the TV show like other kids. No, I got into it by thrifting these guys. Pokémon Sliders were released in 1999 in that scrumptious OG red Pokémon packaging, and they had rolling balls on the bottom so they could slide across the floor. And I immediately went and ordered a Bulbasaur one of these online because I get so obsessed with anything I make a video about, like it's a problem. Number 8, Barbie Mini Bees. Barbie Mini Bees, as the name implies, are mini Barbies. They were released in 2009 and they were slightly reminiscent of Polly Pockets. Tiny dolls with pets and accessories, and they came with these keychain carry cases shaped like stereotypical girly things like lipstick, bags, and high heels. The Mini Bee spin-off line also released a few playsets, including a limo and a hotel. I only ever collected the keychains, mostly for the pets. To be honest, I always had this weird thing about buying dolls as a kid. I was like a very feminist small child and I didn't want to perpetuate feminine stereotypes, and I thought buying dolls kind of fell into that. The intent was there, I guess, but I spent a lot of my childhood pretending I didn't like things when really I did. But yeah, Barbie Mini Bees was so cool they got the pass. Number 9, Smooshy Mushies. Smooshy Mushies, the most recently released entry on this list, came out on the 17th of October 2017. They're a series of foam squishy toys combining animals and food. The original Smooshy Mushies came in blind bags shaped like bottles and contained a mystery pair of squishies, an animal and their smaller food companion known as a BFF. They also came with attachable ball chains to turn them into keychains. But I learnt the hard way not to put these on my bag because I lost so many of them. Over the years, they've released many different themed series, most notably the Bento Box series. You can still find these toys being sold here and there, but they've never been as big as their initial surge in popularity. But yeah, overall, 10 out of 10 squishies, I'd really recommend them. Number 10, puppypalz. If you've never owned puppypalz, chances are you've at least seen them around. I don't know about other countries, but in the UK we have gacha machines by the exit of literally every supermarket. Because, you know, you've just listened to your child scream around the entire supermarket, and by the time you get to the exit and they start begging for one of these toys, you've lost all your willpower and will just give in and buy one. Genius marketing strategy. Nowadays these machines mostly have fidget toys, but back in the 2000s they were mostly phone charms, figurines and keychains. Off topic, but why are the pictures on these always AI generated nowadays? I have to see them every time I leave the house and it haunts me. But anyway, puppypalz were the it girl of capsule machines. They were metal tins on a ball chain with a little puppy figurine on the inside. The tins had these really cute illustrations on them alongside the dogs' names, so they were pretty easy to get attached to, like your own little pet. Over the years, the tins went through a lot of different art styles, some better than others, but that's just a testament for how long this toy series went on. So those were 10 toys from my childhood. I'd love to continue this series. I've already started writing a part 2, I got a bit excited. But yeah, I'm assuming chances are you saw a toy you recognised on the thumbnail that activated you like a sleeper agent, you skipped forward to that part and clicked off, and now my average watch time is going to be abysmally low. It's okay, I'm just testing to see if people like these kind of videos. Again, if you'd like a full-length video on any of these topics, please let me know in the comments. And I'd love to know that I'm not like the only person who knows these exist, so tell me if you have any memories with them. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe and check out my Patreon for a sneaky peek of what's going to be in part 2. And I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Bye!